four guys named John, Paul, George, and Ringo.
Are you a mod or a rocker?
No, I'm a mocker.
And they've just decided, for the first time, they're going to break all the rules.
Where are you going, John?
She's gonna show me a stamp collection.
In the next 24 hours, they're going to throw out their schedules, ignore their obligations, and get a taste of freedom.
Don't move any of you. The place is surging with girls.
Please, sir, can I have one to surgery, sir, please, sir? Join in, then.
No, she'll only reject me in the end and I'll be frustrated.
Excuse me, but these young men I'm sitting with wondered if the two of us could come over and join you.
I'd actually myself only I'm shy.
Just for once, let's all try to behave like ordinary, respectable citizens. Gotcha.
Miramax Films is proud to present The Beatles as you've never seen them before.
Ringo.
Yeah, that's what they all say these days.
Featuring new footage, an enhanced picture, and a digitally restored soundtrack that's better than the original. Roger Ebert calls it one of the great life-affirming landmarks of the movies. A Hard Day's Night.
Oh, well, very good, that, George.
Wow.
I will try it. Yeah.
Or as most people would like to call it, what Spice World was trying to do 2 years ago and failed miserably at. But, I mean, this is a film that is basically, the story is that you have, it's not even really a story, honestly, but you have 36 hours in the life of the Beatles as they prepare for a television performance, and the movie literally is just them at the peak of their success. I mean, this is right in the middle of when the Beatles were at their highest point. Of course, the Beatles are, of course, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. And you have Richard Lester here, who, of course, you may know as the director of the Superman movies, Superman 2 and Superman 3. This film is basically like, I mean, so what is the big question I think a lot of people would be asking is, so why did a movie like Spice World, that was trying to do the exact same thing for the 90s, failed so miserably at it? Meanwhile, a movie like A Hard Day's Night is considered to be a classic by many people. Well, Spice World failed mostly because it was a film that just had no idea what it was trying to do. They just had the Spice Girls, and they thought that was going to be the only selling point of the movie. Plus, it was seen as a completely over-the-top movie that was so ridiculously stupid, even for its own good. Like, even if the intention was to be so bad it's good, they failed on so many levels there. But here, I think the big difference between this movie and Spice World comes down to one simple thing. Honest realism, because, like I said, this was right at the height of Beatlemania. They're right in the middle of London, of course, where they live and their success is at. And you could believe that this was probably something that happened in real life. You could believe that there were so many people that wanted to be around them, and you could believe that they were on these crazy adventures. And this film was a success because they were playing along with the idea, and they made it a lot of fun. I mean, this film has a lot of influential elements to it, just in musical films in general. The Monkees TV show was actually inspired by this. Music videos. This was a movie that was so much considered to be the introduction to the music video. And a lot of other low-budget films like this, parodies like The Ruddles from the late 70s, early 80s, and stuff like John Borman's Catch Us If You Can, even something like this of Spinal Tap. I mean, this movie had a lot of huge influences that it took later on down the road. I mean, the Beatles, they made some pretty fun movies overall. This one, and also, of course, Yellow Submarine, which is fun in a number of different bizarre ways because of the way it's because of the animation and all that. But I don't know. Maybe one day we'll get to that if it does get a re-release at some point here. But I don't think we're going to be mentioning it here on this show. But maybe when we get to flashback on the flashback show, maybe we'll do it. But kind of rambling on at this point. But this is a movie that really does not have a whole lot in terms of a story or anything too in-depth about it, but it's one of those movies that you can always go back to and just kind of like, I see why this movie is still so much fun. It's a silly, fun rock and roll movie with these four guys, and you can tell that they really did like like this idea and they like playing around with this idea, and it shows on screen. I mean, it's a really fun, over-the-top film, and it has great music to it. I mean, the Beatles made a lot of great music, and it's a lot of it in this movie. And the cinematography, it's great to see it in black and white. Like, I think that's the best way to handle a story like this. And it knows what it wants to do. It knows to go in and get in and get out. And it just knows that it's there to have fun. And it really does a phenomenal job of handling that. I think it is a film that still very much holds up after all these years. I mean, this year's the 60th anniversary of its release. And the fact that it's still entertaining 60 years later tells you a lot about what this movie's lasting legacy is. I mean, it's a really fun film overall. Maybe it's not their best movie overall. I would probably say Yellow Submarine, just for the fun factor and also the WTFness of that film. But this one's just close to as good as that one, and maybe even more so by other people. But it's a fun movie. It's a really fun movie that knows exactly what it's trying to do. And it delivers on all of that. Like, it's a really good, fun film. I can't recommend this one enough. A Hard Day's Night. I really love it. If you haven't seen it, you're doing yourself a huge disservice by not doing so.
Stomach Dave, this is base camp. Weather tracking shows storm building at 26,000 feet. Advise return. I repeat, advise return.
I'm pulling the plug. I thought I was paying you to get me to the top.
I think we should keep going.
I think we've lost the cemetery. This is base camp. Do you copy? This is Peter Garrett speaking. Come in.
Peter,
Peter?
They got 22 hours if they're lucky.
don't risk it.
I won't let my sister die. That's gonna be a speed ascent climbing in pairs.
They think it's suicide.
I'll write a check to whoever goes. $500,000.
Now, the lives of 3
My brother's got explosives. Says they're gonna blast their way down.
Strap on the nitro.
will depend on the courage of 6.
On a rescue mission, we don't vote, we don't question, we don't argue. You listen and do exactly as I say.
It's gonna blow! The nitro! It's gonna blow!
My sister's dying up there, Mr. Wick.
Up there, you're not dying. You're dead.
So Vertical Limit is this story where you have this young climber played by Chris O'Donnell who must launch a treacherous and extraordinary rescue effort up K2, the world's second highest peak, confronting both his own limitations and the awesome power of nature's uncontrollable elements. He risks his life to save his sister, played by Robin Tooney, and her summit team in a race against time. The team is trapped in an icy glacier at 26,000 feet, a death zone above the vertical limit of endurance where the human body cannot survive that long. Every second counts as Peter enlists the help of a crew of fellow climbers, including eccentric, reclusive mountain man Montgomery Wick. That's a great name for you. Who's played by who else but Scott Glenn, to ascend the chilling might of the world's most feared peak to save her. This is directed by Martin Campbell, who gave us GoldenEye, Casino Royale, The Mask of Zorro. He's a really good action director, and it's because of him I think this movie really stands out more than it would usually do. I mean, this is a guy that is known for making pretty good action movies in general. Plus, I've talked about this before, I just love watching snow on the big screen, especially in a movie like this, like something like an Everest, or something like this movie in particular, because it's amazing to watch snow like this on a gigantic screen, and to see like the elements coming at you this way. And I really do like this movie. I don't think a lot of people really do particularly enjoy. This is one of those ones that was heavily criticized by the fact that Sony had a critic called David Manning. We've talked about him before. They basically made him up, and he was putting positive reviews for these movies here. Sony was basically doing that, and I think this was one of the last films that happened before they finally figured out who this guy really was. But the movie itself is really fun. It's a very lackluster plot in general, but the action sequences I think are very well done. It's because you have a guy like Martin Campbell who can make this stuff work, and you do get invested in the adventure. You do feel like you're up in the elements here, and it really does a fantastic job of handling that. Casting overall, it's fine for what it is, but nothing too spectacular about it. But you really do watch this mostly because of the action sequences in general. I think they're for the most part done very well. I think you do get a lot of sense of intense adventure in this. I think it works very well on those elements. I really enjoy this one a lot. Vertical Limit, not a great movie by any means, but it is fun to watch, especially for the stuff. Mostly because I am a snow fanatic, and I do like movies like this, where you get to see these snowy mountains and snow and these grand venues out in full here. I mean, I think it's a very well-made film. So with that said, on to our next movie, and that is Mel Gibson, Meg Ryan, and Russell Crowe in Proof of Life.
It's all over the world.
You're not a part of it, all right?
How much would you risk? Your husband isn't dead. He's alive. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure he gets home safe.
To save a total stranger.
You don't spend that much time working on a deal and kill your hostage. Maybe there are no more deals.
Meg Ryan,
You told me my husband was coming home.
Russell Crowe.
I told you you'd have to trust me. You said you could.
Proof of Life, rated R. Starts Friday.
So Proof of Life tells the story of Meg Ryan. She hires a professional negotiator to obtain the release of her engineer husband, the negotiator played by Russell Crowe, and the husband played by David Morse, who has been kidnapped by anti-government guerrillas in South America. This is directed by Taylor Hackford, who of course gave us An Officer and a Gentleman, Against All Odds, White Knights, Devil's Advocate, a really great director, and Tony Gilroy. This is one of the films he wrote. I believe... No, he was kind of right in the middle of his success, because his first film was Back with the Cutting Edge, and a good cast overall here. A good cast, good director, good writer. I mean, this should work, but it really doesn't. It's a film that really just falls into very much predictable territory. Nothing too incredible or anything is interesting whatsoever. It's not an engaging story, and honestly, this is one of those movies where the behind-the-scenes antics really took control of the movie overall, because of course Meg Ryan was dating Russell Crowe at the time of this movie coming out, and there was a lot of controversy behind that, and it didn't help that the movie itself didn't live up to the high expectations they had set for this. I mean, Russell Crowe was just coming off of Gladiator. He was on his way to winning that Oscar for that year, and then you have this movie coming out. Kind of took a little bit of the energy, positive energy coming out of Russell Crowe that year, but I mean, he did eventually win the Oscar overall, but it was also kind of the final nail in the coffin for Meg Ryan, because she didn't really make a ton of really big movies like this after this point. I mean, she had a couple here and there, but she kind of went away after this movie. I can't remember any other movies in particular, except for In the Cut and then In the Land of Women, after this point, that she became more notable for. I mean, she just came back recently with the film she did with David Duchovny, which I can't remember what it is now, honestly. But What We Already Know, I think it was called. But yeah, this was kind of the beginning of the end for her career. I just wish it was a better movie to go off on, unfortunately. But yeah, Proof of Life, pretty generic film, nothing too crazy, nothing too incredible about it. Just kind of there. It's just boring film. So yeah, on to the next movie, and this one's anything but boring and not a good movie, but for a number of different reasons, as you're going to see in this trailer for Dungeons and Dragons.
Navigate the maze. Escape the dungeons. Slay the dragon. Don't you think they just hit a bit out on me? Dungeons and Dragons, rated PG-13, starts Friday.
They didn't even try to hide how bad this movie is. I mean, my God, the effects in that trailer alone would be more than enough for me to stay the hell away from this movie. But you have the story of an empress who wishes to get hold of a mythical rod that will help her fight an evil wizard, and enlists two thieves for the help. The empress played by Thora Birch, the evil wizard played by Jeremy Irons, and the two thieves played by Marlon Wayans and Justin Whalen. That's right, Andy from Child's Play 3. how the hell did anybody think this movie was going to be successful? Because it wasn't. This thing bombed pretty badly. And in fact, this movie didn't even get a theatrical release, American distributor until 3 months before it came out. This New Line Cinema basically bought the rights in August of 2000, and they basically bought it. They bought it for the date. They wanted to release it in the spring or summer of 2001 to set up more licensing and tie-in deals, but Warner Brothers wanted to get it out of there pretty quickly, and as Ain't It Cool News' Harry Knoll suggested, New Line basically made the deal to excite the fantasy film fan base into a much larger production with The Lord of the Rings, which would come out the year later, and still not a reason why you should have picked this movie up. This movie should have been dead and buried, and yeah, it's a bad movie. It's a really, really bad movie. This is unbelievably bad. This is a mess of a film. Like, the only reason you should watch this movie is for the over-the-top performances from people like Jeremy Irons, who really is just like going insane with this and just saying, screw it, I'm gonna get something out of this. And he delivers some of the best moments in the movie because of how over-the-top he takes it. But other than that, though, no, this is just a bad film. And if this was the movie they were trying to get people excited about Lord of the Rings, this could have backfired really big time if Peter Jackson didn't deliver on this. In fact, I'm pretty sure Peter Jackson looked at this and said, "Oh dear God, I have to make this work somehow." And sure enough, hey, Lord of the Rings worked, but that's a year from now. We will get to that one when we get to 2001. But I digress. Dungeons and Dragons, not worth it. Definitely not worth it. But let's get to some good movies that came out this weekend. We have Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
America's top critics agree. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is everything we go to the movies for. Exhilarating, visually stunning, spectacular, romantic, fantastic, visionary, filmmaking magic, the best movie of the year. Chow Yun-fat, Michelle Yeoh, and Zhang Ziyi. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, rated PG-13.
I mean, where the hell did this movie come from? This is a film that really came out of nowhere and really became one of the big surprises of the last half of the year of the 2000s. But in early 19th century China, in the waning years of the Qing dynasty, the renowned swordsman who yearns for enlightenment, Li Mu Bao, decides to give up his legendary Green Destiny sword, the sharp 400-year-old blade of heroes. To mark the end of a bloodstained career, he entrusts the excellent female warrior Yun Shun Li with the precise weapon to deliver to Governor Yu. However, once there, an audacious and nimble masked thief manages to steal it, as Xu Li is hot on the trail of the skilled burglar, unrequited loves, fervent passions, an unconquerable desire for freedom, and bitter loose ends stand in the way. And you can't really talk about this movie without talking about the amazing choreography. I mean, this is the film that really shows you what international cinema can really do. This is a film that really took a lot of people by surprise at how well this movie turned out, because, I mean, just the visuals alone, the fight choreography, just top-notch stuff. And this is Ang Lee at his best. This is what got people excited when they said he was going to do the Hulk, and then look what happened with Ang Lee's Hulk. But this is a movie that really showed you what this director can really do, and he really did a phenomenal job with it. A phenomenal cast that includes Chow Yun-fat, Zhang Ziyi, Michelle Yeoh, just incredible cast, a really good storyline that you can easily follow. It feels like it could be really complicated, but you can pretty much figure out what's going on pretty quickly and really not get too confused on it. And like I said, the action sequences, the martial arts sequences, the fight choreography, just top notch. I mean, there is nothing more about this film that I really need to say to anybody, but I mean, it really is. It's really that great of a film. I mean, like I said, I really don't have too much more to say about this one. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, fantastic film. Can't recommend this one enough. So that's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Now let's move on to the last one we have here, and that is Guy Ritchie's Snatch.
Bonjour. What do a stolen diamond, 86 carats, a four-fingered gambler, whoops, a thug named Bullet Tooth.
Should I call you Bullet, Tooth? You can call me Susan if it makes you happy.
And this guy.
Who are you?
Mr.
massive accident. Concentrate.
What? Have in common?
I would have thought that was obvious.
You won't know until you sneak a peek at Snatch.
Size.
Did you understand a single word of what I just said? Rated R.
This is, of course, Guy Ritchie's follow-up to Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. You have the story of the London criminal underworld, where they combine two intertwined plots, one dealing with the search for a stolen diamond, the other dealing with a small-time boxing promoter, played by Jason Statham, who finds himself under the thumb of a ruthless gangster, played by Alan Ford, and willing to have his subordinates carry out severe and sadistic acts of violence. You also have people like Brad Pitt, who plays an Irish traveler, Benicio del Toro, Dennis Farina, Lenny James, Robbie Gee, 80, Vinnie Jones, just an incredible cast in general, and this is what we look for when we look for a movie with Guy Ritchie's name on. And I mean, when we think Guy Ritchie, you think of a film like this, very stylized, kind of like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, has its own unique style of shooting these action sequences, and just the way he films this films everything. Like, it's really good stuff. It's a very funny film, a very smart film, just a really solid cast overall to really make it stand out. It's just a great film in general. Again, there's not really much more I could say about this one that hasn't already been said. This is what we look for when you think of a Guy Ritchie film. And it's definitely one of his strongest films. No question about that one. So yeah, that is Snatch.
To women.
Taller Grande.
At least I like to think so.
Next.
But he's about to discover what women think.
Hello, my little sweet buns.
What did you say?
Gotcha.
And here, what women think.
Whoa, right after that aftershave.
Even French poodles, I can hear.
Monsieur, I need to go for proof. Oh. I don't know how this happened, but you may just be the luckiest man on earth.
Paramount Pictures and Icon Productions present the story of a man's man who's getting in touch with his feminine side.
Dad, what are you doing?
Exfoliating. Mel Gibson.
Oh, dear God.
Helen Hunt.
Call me anytime. Oh, God, I just looked at his crotch. Oh, I just looked at it again.
What women want.
I can't believe this is what I'll be wearing the last night I'm a virgin.
PG-13 starts Friday, December 15th in theaters everywhere.
So Mel Gibson plays this advertising executive who's about as cocky as they come. But what happens when a chauvinistic guy, when he suddenly has the power to hear what women are thinking? He gets passed over for promotion, but after an accident enables him to have the ability to hear what women think. He puts his newfound talents to work against his new boss, played by Helen Hunt, who seems to be infatuated with him. And yeah, it's weird seeing Mel Gibson in a romantic comedy like this, but this is one of those movies I really do like. It's a movie that does not get the proper respect I think it really deserves, because it's a weird concept, especially with Mel Gibson at the helm of it. But it's a fun idea. Like, you have a lot of really good talent in here, not just with Mel Gibson and Helen Hunt, but Marissa Tomei, Alan Alda. You have Ashley Johnson in this, Mark Fierstein, Lauren Holly, Delta Burke, Loretta Devine, you see in the trailer there, Judy Greer, Sarah Paulson, Anna Gasteyer, Lisa Edelstein, Bette Midler, who's actually uncredited even though she's in the trailer for this. But this is a really good movie. I really like this one a lot. It's a very stupid comedy at times, but it's very lighthearted, and it does have a lot of funny moments. And you can believe in the chemistry of both Gibson and Helen Hunt. I think they're both very good in the film. It's a really good, enjoyable film. I really do like a lot of what they're trying to say in this movie. And it's funny that they remade this about 20 years later with What Men Want, with Taraji P. Henson. It was basically a gender reversal, with Taraji P. Henson being the one being able to hear what men think. And I like that one too. I think it's about as fun as this one here. Both movies are not really supposed to be this smart, endearing, concept here. They're both very fun movies, and I like them both in the very same way. Not a lot about those two films work all the way through. It's a great movie, but they're good, fun, romantic comedies. When I think of a good, fun, silly romantic comedy, I think of these two movies, the remake and also this film in particular. And it's nice to see Mel Gibson actually do something outside of his norm. It's weird, but he makes it work. I think it works very well for him. And, Nancy Meyers, a great director who did The Parent Trap before this, did the Father of the Bride movie, Something's Gotta Give, coming up after this. A lot of good movies she's made as a director, and this is one that I really like to watch a lot, mostly because of the cast and the fun performances overall. I really like this film a lot. I can't really recommend this one more. If you want to go into this really having a good time, What Woman Want definitely is very much what it is. It's a fun movie, very good, very funny concept overall. Not a movie that's going to be like one of the best romantic comedies ever, but a good, fun, solid romantic comedy. I highly recommend it. Yeah, What Women Want. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie. Speaking of stupid comedies that should be not that great, but somehow become really funny movies, let's talk about Dude, Where's My Car?
You bought a lifetime supply of pudding and forgot about it? I'd say it's entirely possible.
Last night was a night to remember.
Where were you between midnight and 2 a.m.?
We don't remember. But not for Jesse and Chester.
Leave him alone. He doesn't know anything.
20th Century Fox presents.
Have you seen my car?
Well, I saw the back seat.
Oh, I'm talking about the whole thing.
Dude, Where's My Car?
I got a really bad feeling in the pit of my stomach.
Maybe you should go sit on the toilet.
Rated PG-13. December 15th, only in theaters.
So yeah, this is one of those really interesting case scenarios where a film that was heavily panned by critics did well enough during a time when movies like this probably wouldn't do so well. There's a lot there to take from this. Simple concept here. You have two best friends played by Ashton Kutcher and Seann William Scott who find themselves unable to remember when they parked their vehicle after a night of recklessness. And basically all of chaos and all hell breaks loose. They encounter so many different things, from a transgender stripper to a belligerent speaker box operator at a Chinese restaurant to tattoos discovered on their backs, UFO cultists, a Cantonese-speaking Chinese tailor, a Zen-minded Nelson and his cannibal lovers dog, a beautiful woman played by Christy Swanson, her aggressive jock boyfriend, two hard-nosed police detectives, a reluctant French ostrich farmer, aliens. I mean, one of the most chaotic and bizarre movies you will ever see. And yet, it's one of those movies I remember seeing it back when I was little. I think we went to go see this in the theater when it came out, and I really loved it back then. And it's a film that, yeah, it's really stupid. It's one of the most bizarrely poorly executed concepts I have ever seen. And yet, and it's also PG-13 too. A PG-13 stoner comedy should not work, and yet it really does. It's really one of those fun surprises that I did not see coming, and it really is one of the most fun, enjoyable experiences I remember having it back then. It's one of those nostalgic movies that's really so bad it's good, but it works, I think, for a number of different reasons. One, a good director, Danny Lehner, who went on to go direct Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. You have one of the writers from That 70s Show who actually wrote this. Ashton Kutcher and Seann William Scott, they actually have a good script that the two of them can really work off each other on. In a way, it's kind of like a 2000s equivalent to something like Dumb and Dumber, except even more chaotic than the original Dumb and Dumber. But not only them, but a cast that includes, Christy Swanson, a pre-alias Jennifer Garner, Marla Sokoloff, David Herman from King of the Hill and Office Space, Hal Sparks, Marilyn Reichkub, Jodie Ann Patterson. There's just so many notable names in this movie, and just so many bizarre concepts in this movie. And it's funny because Seth Rogen and Jake Gyllenhaal supposedly were considered for the lead roles for this, and Jason Reitman was actually turned down the offer to direct this not once but twice. But it really is one of those movies that should not work. It's very, very bizarre. It basically feels like a TV sitcom more than a movie. It's a PG-13 stoner comedy, which should not work on any level, shape, or form, and yet it surprisingly does. It amazingly holds up well, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because of the nostalgic person in me that really likes it, because I saw it when I was little and growing up loving it. Growing up watching it, it's just kind of like, I recognize it's bad, but it's still a movie that I'm just kind of like, you know what, it's bad, but it's a so bad it's good type of movie. Or maybe there's more to it that I'm completely not seeing here, but that was one of those big surprises that came out back then. It was just like, I surprisingly really enjoyed this movie back then, and even now I'm just kind of like, yeah, it still holds up, even though it's incredibly stupid at many, many points. It's still a really, really funny movie, and I can't help but recommend it. If you like a good, fun, so bad it's good type of movie, Dude, Where's My Car might do the trick for you. It's really one of the most impressively bizarre comedies I've seen in a long, long time, and it surprisingly still holds up after all these years. So that's Dude, Where's My Car? So let's go ahead and move on to probably the one that has maybe the most interesting production history of all the films on this week's show. That is Disney's animated feature, The Emperor's New Groove.
Long ago, in a faraway land, there was a prosperous kingdom ruled by by a young emperor.
Oh, yeah! Boom, baby!
He had a serious attitude.
You threw off my groove.
I'm sorry, but you've thrown off the Emperor's groove.
An evil advisor.
By the way, you're fired.
I'll take over and rule the Empire.
And one major problem.
I'll just poison him with this.
Hey, Kronk, can you top me off, pal? Be a friend?
A llama? He's supposed to be dead!
Yeah, weird.
Take him out of town and finish the job.
Now, his only hope is a humble peasant.
Demon Llama? Where? You kidnapped me.
Why would I kidnap a llama?
You're the criminal mastermind, not me.
What?
Tell me Cusco's dead.
Ow!
Well, it's not as dead as we would have hoped.
No, wait.
Your Highness, I gotcha. You're safe now. Or not.
Don't touch you.
Why do I risk my life for a selfish brand like you?
Now I feel really bad. Bad llama.
This holiday season, the Emperor's got a new look, a new partner,
We're gonna have to work together to get out of this.
You know, it's a good thing you're not a big fat guy, or this would be really difficult.
and a brand new groove. Walt Disney Pictures presents The Emperor's New Groove.
Uh-oh.
Don't tell me. We're about to go over a huge waterfall.
Yep,
Sharp rocks at the bottom.
most likely.
Bring it on.
December 2000 in theaters everywhere.
So The Emperor's New Groove is basically an animated feature, a comedy where you have this vain and cocky emperor named Cusco, played by David Spade, who's a very busy man. Besides maintaining his groove and firing his suspicious administrator Yzma, played by Eartha Kitt, he's also planning to build a new water park just for himself for his birthday. However, this means destroying one of the main villages in his kingdom. Meanwhile, Yzma is hatching a plan to get her revenge and usurp the throne. But in a botched situation where an assassination attempt goes wrong by her right man Kronk, played by Patrick Warburton, he's magically transformed into a llama. And now Cusco, with the help of Pacha, played by John Goodman, who's a lowly llama herder whose home is ground zero for the water park. Upon discovering the llama's true self, Pacha offers to help resolve the Emperor's problem and regain his throne, only if he promises to move his water park. And you could pretty much see where this goes from there. But let's talk about the production history of this movie, because it's very, very interesting. And I'm going to try to sum this up as much as I can here. And if I miss some things, that's just kind of, I'm just doing it for time here. But basically what happened was, this film was altered significantly over its 6 years of development and production. It began as this big musical epic called The Kingdom of the Sun, which would have been directed by Mark Dindal, who directed this, and also Roger Ailes, the co-director of The Lion King. This is something that was in development for a number of years. Sting was actually one of the main people behind the film. And in the summer of 1997, you basically had the directors attached to this, and you had Spade and Eartha Kitt in here. Carla Gugino also had a role in here, so did Harvey Fierstein. And then in 1998, it became apparent that the film was not far enough in production for the film to be released in the summer of 2000. And one of the Disney executives reportedly walked into one of the producers' offices and said, "Your film is this close to being shut down." And basically, they approached the directors, Allers, and informed them of his need to finish the film on time for summer 2000, and other companies were already established and dependent on reaching that release date. A couple months later, the project became dormant, with the cost amounting to $25 to $30 million, and 25% of the film animated. So Ailes left the project. Eisner gave Randy Fulmer 2 weeks to salvage the project, or production would completely shut down. And so production was basically halted 6 months to retool the project, and a lot of things had changed. A lot of cast members who were in the film, like Owen Wilson, Harvey Fierstein, dropped out, and the film was later retitled The Emperor's New Groove and was given this completely new story altogether. And Sting was really, really upset about this movie in general, because of the changes that they were making to it. There's a long production history to it, and I can't really go into it in full here. So if you really want the full information, go check out the documentary, The Sweatbox, because it really does sum everything up pretty well, more than pretty much I could do it. But despite all the production problems when this came out, this is one of the most underrated Disney animated movies I've ever seen. I mean, this movie is friggin' hilarious. I mean, the animation in this is well done. It's Disney quality animation done right, and the movie does a great job showing off the look of the Aztec culture in a Disney fashion. And a voice cast that's really, really good. You know, David Spade has been funny, but without Chris Farley, a lot of those projects have not been as strong that with him involved in them. And this is him at his finest. I mean, he's fantastic as Cusco, and he's a jackass, quite literally, but he's a lovable jackass, and you can't go wrong with John Goodman as Pacha. They put these two together, pitch perfect chemistry, and it works so well. As does the chemistry between Eartha Kitt and Patrick Warburton. Yzma's probably one of the funniest and best Disney villains of recent memory, and Kronk is just so lovable, and Warburton's tone is pitch perfect for that character. The music is very good, too. The song that Sting does at the end is very good, and the music by John Debney is great as well. Mark Dindal, like I said, directed this film. He also did Cats Don't Dance, and Cats Don't Dance is one of those movies that has an interesting idea to it, but kind of failed overall in terms of the story and execution delivery. It's still a great movie. The animation looked good, but the story didn't really work as well as it should have. But this is where he gets it right, because he creates such a beautifully animated and hilariously made comedy. This is one of the most underrated animated films. Very funny, very beautifully animated, very well made. It has a lot of great things about it that's worth checking out multiple times. It's a great movie, one that deserves to get more attention. And yeah, it's not the movie that they originally intended it to be, but you know what? This probably would have been better than what they probably would have set up. It would have been nice to see what they would have done, but I don't know how you top a movie like this. This is just a classic film on so many levels. I love this movie so much. The Emperor's New Groove. If you haven't seen it, go out and see it, man, because you're doing yourself a huge disservice by not doing so. And with that said, we move on to our next movie, and that is Lasse Hallström's Chocolat.
I heard she was some kind of radical.
Through secret recipes,
Chili pepper and hot chocolate. It'll give you a lift.
opened up a town's heart. Then she met the one man
Go ahead. It's your favorite.
who dared her to open her own.
She's laughing at us, laughing at our traditions.
Way to give it down, going things now like the villagers think.
This holiday season, one taste is all it takes. Chocolat.
Starts tomorrow in select cities.
So in this film, you have the story of Vivienne Rocher, who's played by Juliette Binoche, who arrives in this fictional town, French village of Lansquenet-sur-Tans. I think I'm pronouncing that right, but if I'm not, I'm sorry. At the beginning of Lent, with her 6-year-old daughter, she opens up a small chocolate area, and soon she and her chocolate influences the lives of the townspeople and the repressed French community in different and interesting ways. And it's been a while since I've seen this movie, but from what I remember from it, I thought it was pretty good. Juliette Binoche leads a great cast that includes Judi Dench, Alfred Molina, Lena Olin, Johnny Depp, Carrie-Anne Moss. Phenomenal cast. Lasse Hallström is one of those really great underrated directors that makes a lot of really good films. Definitely one of my personal favorites from him is Once Around. That's just a great underrated film with Richard Dreyfuss and Holly Hunter in it. That one you should definitely check out. But this is a really good film too. It's very visually pleasing to look at. It'll make you want chocolate a lot. The casting overall is top-notch. Like I said, it's been a while since I've seen this one, but from what I remember from it, I really did enjoy it. So, not much more I can say about this one. Chocolat, definitely worth checking out. With that said, on to the last movie, and that is Ed Harris's Pollock.
Look at the paintings. I don't think they'd have any trouble enjoying them. It's like looking at a bed of flowers. Don't tear your hair out over what it means.
How do you know when you're finished with a painting?
How do you know when you're finished making love?
That's deep, dude. And I probably should have said Pollock, because that's literally who this is about. American painter Jackson Pollock. His struggles with alcoholism, and it's basically centering on his life and as well as his troubled marriage to his wife, Liv Krasner, played by Marcia Gay Harden, who ended up winning an Academy Award for this for Best Supporting Actress. This is a film I have not seen, so I really do not know too much about this movie in general. I thought this was the second film that Ed Harris directed after The Apostle, but I'm thinking of Robert Duvall. But as far as I know, this is the first film he directed. I could be wrong on that, but as far as I know, I've heard a lot of good things about it. I haven't seen it, so I can't really say if it's any good or not, but definitely doesn't look too bad, and the performances look like they carry the film through, so... not much more I can say about this one, unfortunately, so that's pretty much what I have to say about Pollock. Okay. That's going to do it for this episode of Time About the Movies. I wanted to get that right before I got on out of here, but...
We live or we die by the clock. That's how long we have. Two lines. One to the airport truck, one to the Moscow truck. Nikolai, tick-tock. 50 seconds! When that clock hits 0, you send this truck. I don't care if Lenin himself comes out of his tomb with a priority package. I absolutely positively have to get to Memphis tonight. You want this?
Okay, I'll cancel Saturday.
No, it's fine. Not here. I'm not.
Just so long as you're here New Year's Eve.
Be here New Year's Eve, I promise.
2 more minutes. Thanks. Hey.
Oh, Mom. Merry Christmas.
I love you.
I love you too.
I'll be right back. Fire! Engine 1!
I mean, the trailer pretty much tells you what the plot is right there. You have Tom Hanks as this FedEx troubleshooter. He's about to go back home to Memphis, and his plane eventually gets caught up in the storm. It crashes, and he's basically stranded on this deserted island in the South Pacific. The interesting thing about this movie, this was not shot chronologically. What basically happened was they first shot this back in January of '99, and they shot it back in January. They halted it for 2 months. 2 months after that, and then they resumed shooting that April is the following April in the year 2000. And basically, Hanks had to gain 50 pounds during the pre-production, and for the purpose of making his transformation more dramatic. And then after most of the film was shot, production was paused so he can lose all that weight, grow his hair and beard to look like he had been living on the island for years. And so, during this, Zemeckis basically made What Lies Beneath that came out the previous summer, that summer in 2000, and no joke, Hanks actually nearly died when he suffered an infected cut on his leg. They had to rush him to a local hospital, and he had to stay there for 3 days to go under surgery. Basically, the movie had to be suspended for 3 weeks to allow him to return from the injury, but really think about everything that this guy had to do to make this performance work. And, the results speak for itself, man. Castaway is probably one of Tom Hanks' greatest movies. I mean, this is a film that is just so well done, and it works because of Tom Hanks, obviously. He's one of our great actors. Helen Hunt also is great in the movie as well. Robert Zemeckis does a pretty good job of handling the story, and the movie just does a great job of, most of the time, you're just spending it on this island with Tom Hanks, and he has to find a way to keep you invested in what's going on. And lo and behold, he does in this movie. He has to convince you that he's trying to have somebody to talk to with this ball that he finds that he names Wilson, and the fact that he's doing everything in his power to get off this island and head back home. And 4 years pass. I mean, this guy was away for 4 years, and they finally find him. And I think, unfortunately, it basically ends with something that could be seen as kind of a little bit of a cop-out. Like, you see Helen Hunt and Tom Hanks in the beginning, they have a lot of good chemistry, but when he returns, she's already got a family, and honestly, yeah, it sucks that we don't have the happy ending for them, but at the same time, he's been lost for 4 years. I mean, at some point, you gotta have to go, but you kind of have to realize that, yeah, if you've been gone for more than a year, chances are you probably aren't coming back, so some might see it as a cop-out at the end, but at the same time, I know where they're coming from. I see what they're doing here, and I like the way that it does kind of give them a little bit of some closure there. Like, I would have, like, yeah, it would have been nice to have the happy ending, but at the same time, he's been away for 4 years, so it's not really surprising that Helen Hunt had to go find somebody else after a year, over a year of waiting to see if this guy was ever coming back to him. And I like that that he takes on this journey at the end there. Like, you really don't know where he's going to go at this point, and you know, it's really interesting how it plays out here. It's a really good film. It's a really engaging film. It really does deliver everything that it promises. It's one of Tom Hanks' best movies. It's one of Robert Zemeckis' best movies. It's a great movie. One of the year's best movies by a long shot. It's really a fantastic film. I can't recommend this one enough. If you have not seen Castaway, definitely see Castaway. It's worth it. Let's move on to our next movie, and that is Nicolas Cage in The Family Man.
A powerful man, a rich man, a single man.
Probably gonna want to buckle up, Jack.
Is about to show him the man he could have been.
Come on, Dad, get up.
What's happening to me? This is a glimpse.
How did I get here? This isn't my house. You're not my wife? What?
Nicolas Cage,
I'm not a dad.
the family man.
I'm in the middle of a deal.
Well, you're working on a new deal now, babe.
Rated PG-13 at theaters December.
So this is a movie that kind of mixes together two classic Christmas stories. You've got A Christmas Carol with Jack Campbell, kind of being not quite on the same level as Ebenezer Scrooge, but he definitely has a lot of those elements. But the main takeaway is, of course, It's a Wonderful Life. In fact, it's described as a modern-day Frank Capra story. You've got Nicolas Cage as a successful and talented businessman. He's happily living his single life. He's got everything he wants, or so he thinks. One day he wakes up in a new life where he didn't have to leave his college girlfriend, played by Téa Leoni, for a London trip. He's married to Kate. He lives in New Jersey and has 2 kids. He, of course, desperately wants to get his life back, for which he had worked 13 years to do. He's president of P.K. Lassiter's investment house and not a tire salesman at Big Ed's. He drives a Ferrari and not a minivan that never starts. And more importantly, he doesn't wake up in the morning with kids jumping on his bed. After a bad start, day by day, he's confident in his new life and starts to see what he's been missing. Turns out money's good to have, but that's not everything. And you can tell I'm reading that plot from the IMDb page. But I digress. Directed by Brett Ratner. I mean, this is a movie that you do not expect a guy like Brett Ratner to direct. I mean, he's mostly known for directing more action comedies. I mean, Money Talks, Rush Hour. I mean, Rush Hour 2 is coming out the following summer. It's a very different film for him to take on. And it's a really good movie. It's a movie that really, like, it's a really good film that really keeps you on the edge of your seat of how this is going to end. Because it's just like, I mean, you want to see Nicolas Cage and Téa Leoni get together at the end. Like, you could tell they have a good chemistry with one another, and the movie does a really good job of making you believe that. Like it really does make you think about where this is going to go from here, how's this going to end, and it ends on a really good note. Like, yeah, it does fall into rom-com cliches. They got to go to the airport at the end. Like, he's got to go to the airport to see his wife, his wife that he would have had, Téa Leoni, and it goes into rom-com cliches, but I like that it doesn't straight up get them back together at the end, because, you know, what he was, that other life, as Don Cheadle's character says, it's a glimpse. It's not a thing that's actually supposed to happen, but you can tell that they wanted to try to do something unique and different, and maybe give him a positive ending to this that's not directly a happily ever after. And I like the way that they handle it here. I like the way that they handled it in the long run. I thought they did a pretty good job of handling that. And for Brett Ratner, like I said, you don't expect a movie like this to come from the guy that gave us Rush Hour movies. I mean, it's just something that you don't expect. It's interesting because I think more people remember this movie, not because of the movie itself, but because of this.
That's my piece.
You want this cake?
I want it.
You want this cake?
I want it.
You want this cake?
I want it.
You want that cake?
Yeah, that remake of You Want This Cake. By the way, Harry Partridge, one of the best animators on YouTube. If you haven't seen his work, go see his work. But it's a funny bit there. But I think that right there is why this movie has any kind of legacy to it, or at least had it for a little bit. But it has slowly but surely been gaining a following over the years, which I'm glad to see, because it's a very underrated film. It's a very solid film. Nicolas Cage is great in the film, so is Téa Leoni. Don Cheadle's really good in the film, too. It's a really good, well-made film. And I recommend it. It's a very solid film. If you didn't get to watch it this Christmas, definitely check it out again next Christmas. But with that said, let us move on to our last movie, and that is Sandra Bullock in Miss Congeniality.
You might want to stay out of this, all right, sir? All right. I would like 8 double tall lattes, 1 with no foam.
Special Agent Gracie Hart is as tough as nails.
She's got a lot of rage.
And she's completely unpolished.
Honey, are you a lesbian?
Dad. I wish.
But when the FBI needs an undercover agent...
The bombers picked another target. We have ourselves a national emergency.
It's the Miss United States pageant.
The only man for the job is a woman.
You do a few butt-shaping exercises, tighten this up, you could pull this off.
You know what? Pull this off. Let's go, girl.
These people want to put one of their agents in the pageant.
Do you have an agent in mind? Sorry.
She doesn't look the part.
There's no way on earth that I can make this woman ready in 2 days. She's Dirty Harriet.
She doesn't act the part.
Come on, have some midnight Joe and some girl talk. It's light beer, and she's gonna throw it up anyway.
She doesn't want the part.
I'm not gonna parade around in a swimsuit like some airhead bimbo.
Describe your perfect date.
I'd have to say April 25th.
But she's about to prove anything is possible.
I have gel in my hair. I haven't slept all night. I'm starved. And I'm armed. Don't mess with me. I'm fine.
This December.
You're doing a great job.
Do you think I'm cool if you wanna date me?
Get ready.
Gun! Gun! Everybody down!
For the new face of the FBI.
Of course he had a gun. This is Texas. Everybody has a gun. My florist has a gun.
Miss Congeniality.
What is the one thing our society needs?
World peace. World peace. World peace. Harsher punishment for parole violators, Stan. And world peace.
I love this movie, man. If I had to pick maybe the best Sandra Bullock comedy ever, this would probably be my pick, and it's really hard to believe that. But you have Sandra Bullock playing this tomboy agent who's asked by the FBI to go undercover as a contestant in a Miss United States pageant when a terrorist threatens to bomb it. And you have see Michael Caine there, you see Benjamin Bratt, Candice Bergen, William Shatner, Ernie Hudson's in this movie as well. It's a really funny movie. It's a really good film, and it works because Sandra Bullock really commands the screen. I mean, she's not only gorgeous to look at in the movie, but she also gets a lot of really good funny moments in there. I mean, she's really funny in this. The cast overall is just great. Just a ton of really funny moments in general. It's very much a rom-com in every way you think of. But this is one of those ones where the cliches do work to the film's advantage. I think they do a very good job of handling that. And you know, there's just so many elements to it that you just really like about it. I mean, this movie has so many great moments about this film. Like, I've always been wondering what really keeps me going back to this movie every once in a while. Could it be Sandra Bullock? Yeah. Could it be the comedy? Yeah, as well. But along with those things, one thing in particular keeps me coming back to this movie, and it's this goddamn song by Basson, "One in a Million." I don't know what is the deal with that song, but let me tell you something. That song is so damn good and so catchy, and it's just like, whenever I hear that song, it's just like, I can't help but start singing along to it. And even in the movie, it's done pretty cool too. The way they use it in the pageant.
Sometimes you can fall for everyone you see, but only one can really make me stay. sign from the sky said to me, one in a million, once in a lifetime, you made me discover one of the stars above us. You're one in a million, you're once in a lifetime, you made me discover one of the stars above us.
I mean, that's some pretty damn good choreography in that song. Something about that song, just like, I don't know what it is. It's very hypnotizing. It's just like it's a song that, I mean, it's a really catchy song, and every time I hear it, it's just like, I can't help but start singing along to it. I mean, it's just a really great song overall, and it's just like, it's just something that really just, it's just so catchy, and you just can't help but get invested in it. And, yeah. The movie is it's definitely not one of the best comedies out there, but it's definitely one of my favorite Sandra Bullock comedies. It's the one I always go back to. It's just like, every time it's on, it's just like, if there's nothing else on, I'll turn it on, but it's one of those ones that I always go back to. Like, this to me is Bullock at her best. It's really a fantastic film. I laugh a lot on this movie. I know a lot of people probably don't get a lot of laughs from it, but it's one that I always go back to. It's really funny stuff. It's well made. It's a very funny film. Has a lot of things about it that are just so catchy to it. Miss Congeniality. I love this movie.
Roger Ebert calls Traffic a masterpiece. 2 big thumbs up.
We need to send a message.
A cinematic landmark, says the New York Times.
Let's do some more.
Not since The Godfather has there been an epic as powerful. With the cast, the Wall Street Journal calls remarkable.
How am I gonna survive this?
4 stars on over 200 critics' top 10 lists. Traffic is the best picture of the year.
Just tell me where my daughter is.
Traffic. Rated R.
So the movie Traffic explores the illegal drug trade from several perspectives: users, enforcers, politicians, traffickers. Stories edited together into one film, although some characters do not ever meet each other, and you have a great cast that includes Don Cheadle, Benicio del Toro, Michael Douglas, Erica Christensen, Luis Guzman, Dennis Quaid, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Topher Grace, James Brolin, Stephen Bauer, Benjamin Bratt. The story behind this movie is very interesting, because 20th Century Fox was originally the financiers of the film. They wanted Harrison Ford to play a leading role in this, and they wanted significant changes to the script being made. Soderbergh basically refused and proposed the script to other studios, and it was rejected mostly because of the 3-hour running time and the subject matter, as Traffic is more of a political film than most Hollywood productions. So Focus Features, which back then was USA Films, liked the project from the start, and offered the filmmaker more money from Fox than Fox would have, and Soderbergh operated the camera himself and adopted a distinct color grade for each storyline so that audiences could tell them apart. And, it works to the film's advantage, because this is a really damn good movie. It's another a winner for Steven Soderbergh as a director. One of 2 movies he had in 2000 that were massive successes, the other being Aaron Brockovich, and he actually won several Oscars for this movie. Directing, Benicio del Toro won an Oscar for his role in this. Stephen Gaghan won an Oscar for writing the script. Stephen Minro won it for editing. It was also nominated for Best Picture. It's a very good movie. It's very reminiscent of something like what a movie like Sicario would become later on down the road, about 20 years from now. And it's a mix of that and also Crash, because also Crash has a similar setup here where you're following various characters throughout and all having one central storyline going on here. And but this is really well done stuff. It shows what Steven Soderbergh's abilities as a director can do. He's got a great cast to work with. I mean, that cast there is just really like stacked with so many talented names in here. It's never boring, too. It's a movie that is over... It's one of those movies that we always talk about with like stuff with Oppenheimer and Kills of the Flower Moon. A movie that's almost 3 hours long, and it never feels like you've sat there for 3 hours plus. It's like you sit there for a long period of time, and you never feel like that you ever is you're bored. Like, you're really getting invested in all these characters. You know what you're trying to look for when you watch this film. And the results speak for themselves. It's a really good film. It's a well-made film. It's definitely one of the year's best movies. You probably have already seen it already, but if you haven't, definitely seek out Traffic.